Chapter 25. But before the black specks completely blanket my vision, there's another type of movement out of the corner of my eye. Something's coming closer. Something big and tall and brightly colored and holding something red. Only when it's close enough I can tell what it is. Dad, carrying a fire extinguisher. When he's in range of Mom and me, he winds the extinguisher back up high. Mom must realize what's happening at the last second. Maybe she even sees it in my eyes, because she whips her head in his direction, just as he plants the extinguisher right into her waxy face. She lets go of my neck and her body careens off to the side. The little black specks in front of my vision start to evaporate as I gasp for air. Same with the intense heat that had been building up inside me. But Mom doesn't totally lose balance. With another deafening, guttural scream, she hurls herself at Dad, arms outstretched, teeth still bared. I thrust my feet at her legs and managed to trip her up a bit, making her drop her arms slightly, just enough for Dad to get in another good shot right at her face with the extinguisher. This one's more like an uppercut, and her whole body arcs up through the air. She lands with a loud thud on a nearby table, flames immediately engulfing her. Her guttural scream turns into a blood-curdling screech of pain that reverberates in the room as she writhes in the pool of flames. Finally, her screech dies, and her body goes limp. Dad sags slightly, letting the fire extinguisher lull a bit in his arms. He turns to me, dried blood caking the front of his Hawaiian shirt. "Are you okay, honey?" I gingerly roll off the table, my neck vibrating with pain. It feels as if a hot iron has just been removed from it, but at least I can breathe. I'm barely aware my chest is heaving like crazy as I suck in as much air as I possibly can. Although I want to hug Dad, wrap both my arms as tightly as I can around him, and tell him that he's the best dad in the history of the universe, I say, "Yeah, now put out the fire, Dad, now." His body sags even more. "Unfortunately, I can't, honey. This extinguisher's way too small to handle one of this magnitude." Now that he mentions it, the fire's raging all around us now, having spread throughout most of the cafeteria, leaving only a couple open spaces, including the one we're in, and it's only picking up pace, quickly closing the gaps, the intense heat pressing in on us from every direction. "What the heck are we going to do? And where the heck is Pete?" I hastily look around. There he is, lying on the ground just a few feet away, his back and head leaning against a metal column that connects to the ceiling. His eyes are closed, a huge nasty bruise running from his forehead down alongside of his nose where Mom struck him, his glasses lying on the ground beside him. Dad and I rush over and Dad gives him a vigorous shake as I pick up his glasses. "Pete, Pete, wake up," Dad cries. Pete's eyes roll open. "Huh? What's going on?" I hand him his glasses and he puts them on, his eyes immediately bulging as he jerks a bit in his seated position. "Can you get up, son?" Dad asks. He tries, shakily but quickly, climbing to his feet. "Now what?" I eye the enormous, intense blaze all around us. "Follow closely behind me." Dad starts spraying the fire extinguisher in front of him, forming a narrow, open path through the flames that he immediately begins heading along. He lumbers as he goes, clearly badly injured from Mom's gunshot, and Pete and I follow. Yep, looks like Dad somehow managed to escape death, twice, although I guess you could say the same for all three of us. He continues to form a trail with the extinguisher to the cafeteria's open double doors, and heads to the left along the hall, which, thankfully, the flames haven't reached yet. He throws open the utility closet door, we all head inside, and I jab the button on the wall between the vacuum cleaner and old monitor. As the far metal wall slides open again, I can tell the heat of the cafeteria fire has grown much more intense, and I glance toward it. Yeesh. It's now spread outside the cafeteria, making its way along the corridor, faster than before. We all burst into the elevator, and I stab the only button on the inner wall. But no sooner do I do that, does a horrible, deafening scream tears through the hall, through what sounds like the whole facility. Oh God, no. It can't be. The horrendous, blood-curdling scream keeps growing louder and louder, closer and closer, and then a horrifically familiar, tall, slender figure materializes amid the roaring flames, hurtling straight toward us, extremely fast, arms outstretched. The elevator door starts sliding shut. The figure bursts from the threshold of flames and into the closet, totally engulfed in them itself, mere feet away. As utterly horrified as I am, I can't believe it's Mom. My very own Mom, alit in fire and trying as hard as she came to slam into us and torch us all to death. But how did it come to this? How could someone I knew and loved, and who I thought knew and loved me, Dad and Pete, do this to all of us? I can barely make out the black chasm of her open, screaming mouth right before I shut my eyes. A loud thud rings out in the cabin, and I whip my eyes open again. Just like when the black helicopter had been shooting at Pete and me, the elevator door had closed just in time. Pete's, Dad's, and my reflections all stare back at ourselves in the smooth metal door, as well as the shape of part of Mom's body engraved in it. The elevator jolts into action, only it's not going up or down, but sideways. None of us say anything, just try to breathe calmly and settle our nerves. We clearly all have trouble doing that, though, and Dad lets the fire extinguisher plunk to the floor with a light thud. "Well," he says, "that's one way to escape a deadly laboratory full of horribly mutilated corpses and a raging psychotic lunatic of a woman." I can't help but let out a small chuckle. "Tell me about it." "Yep," Pete says.